Place 10 of the best roguelike games goes to Bad North, which is a charming but brutal real-time tactics game for all roguelike fans. Defend your idyllic island kingdom against a horde of Viking invaders as you lead the desperate exodus of your people. Command your loyal subjects to take full tactical advantage of the unique shape of each island. All in all, Bad North's gameplay is very engaging and keeps you on your feet. Despite some weakness in the narrative department, most design choices pay off. It is a polished experience that has kept me entertained for a good amount of time. Bad North strips away just the right amount of complexity and headache that real-time strategy games tend to have, resulting in a core experience that is challenging, rewarding, and very replayable. It is a good strategy game which combines tower defense and roguelike elements. The game has decent soldier upgrades, a big map and enemy variety. Overall, this is a minimalistic and consistent real-time strategy game, which lacks some variety in the long term. Place 9 of the best roguelike games goes to Risk of Rain 2, which is a follow-up of the classic multiplayer roguelike, Risk of Rain. This time it returns with an extra dimension and more challenging action. Play solo, or team up with up to 3 friends to fight your way through hordes of monsters, unlock new loot, and find a way to escape the planet. Risk of Rain 2 gameplay can hook you with its fluid 3D action and distinct classes, and can hold your attention long after you would have seen everything it had to offer with its berserk roguelike progression, and the ability to squad up with friends. The early access version currently looks polished, fun, and immensely replayable. This game has the potential to let you play hours and hours to get a little further in it, or get a better shot at the current run. It has everything that Risk of Rain has but more, such as the new characters like Artificer. Risk of Rain 2 also have new items like lunar coins, new enemies like the Beetle Guard, and additional stages like the Nude Altar that takes you to the bazaar. Overall, it is really fun to play and worth a try. The 8th place of the best roguelike games goes to Enter the Gungeon. It is a bullet hell dungeon crawler following a band of misfits seeking to shoot, loot, dodge, roll and table flip their way to personal absolution by reaching the legendary Gungeon's ultimate treasure, the gun that can kill the past. While the roguelike genre may be getting a little crowded, there's certainly room for this game. It ticks all the boxes, with gameplay that beckons you to come back for one more run, a great art style and presentation, and seemingly something new to discover or unlock on every playthrough. Enter the Gungeon is a wonderful, demanding yet rewarding roguelike twin-stick shooter, where the visuals marry perfectly with the gameplay to deliver one of the most addictive experiences in recent memory. This game rolls with the punches and delivers an experience worth of sitting alongside other great roguelike games. Enter the Gungeon offers fresh and always fair pixel action, and will be a thrill especially for Isaac fans. Overall, it is a wonderful mix of intricate difficulty and vast silliness. Any player drawn to roguelikes or bullet hell games will find a lot to do, and completists will be running around the Gungeon for months to come. The 7th place of the best roguelike games goes to Dungeon of the Endless, which is a roguelike dungeon defense game, in which the player and their team of heroes must protect the generator of their crashed ship while exploring an ever-expanding dungeon, all while facing waves of monsters and special events as they try to find their way out. It is an endlessly entertaining and meticulously crafted modern roguelike. It may not be a perfect experience, but it's a real blast for anyone who likes these types of games. Dungeon of the Endless is a roguelike game with tower defense characteristics that is possible to keep you entertained and on the edge for many hours before you manage to succeed in all the 12 floors. Consider the beautiful pixel art aesthetic a significant bonus to the whole experience. Overall, it is a fascinating mix of role-playing, roguelike dungeon crawler and tower defense that demands a high frustration threshold. The 6th place of the best roguelike games goes to Faster Than Light, also known as FTL. In this game you manage a spaceship and its crew as you explore the galaxy. Strategic real-time combat involves managing power between essential systems and choosing which enemy systems to target. Meanwhile, you control your crew to keep the ship functioning and fight off intruders. The combat is difficult, but, being a roguelike game, frequent permadeath is at the core of the experience. While exploring the galaxy, you will encounter a variety of situations requiring decision-making that can result in many outcomes. Since all events are randomly generated, each playthrough will be significantly different. Most playthroughs of FTL end the same way, but this pulse-poundingly vital, consistently surprising game manages to make death feel like nearly the beginning of another great adventure. In terms of gameplay design, difficulty level and visuals, it's a true indie game. But once you get over this fact, it's a great mix of spaceship simulation and a roguelike. Faster Than Light is a kid's dream becoming a video game. On the deck of a piece of metal, at the helm of its crew, you will start by sticking out your chest like a 10-year-old boy, shooting on sight. Then the harsh truth of the reality of a boundless space will come to challenge you, and you will end up being the chief of your own demise. It's an amazing indie roguelike game, and you should definitely check it out. The fifth place of the best roguelike games goes to the Banner Saga 2, which is on par with its predecessor. This means it's a stunningly beautiful and entertaining RPG and adventure experience. Artistic values are through the roof, likewise the game mechanics that are perfectly crafted to offer interesting choices and great tactical entertainment. Continue your journey soon after the climactic events of the Banner Saga. The choices you made in the first game will affect who is alive and who is dead in the sequel. The epic story of the Banner comes again to touch her sensitive inner self. The second chapter of the saga is full of pain, grief, anxiety, courage and heroism. Let's sit by the fire and sing again songs about heroic deeds, forgotten gods and the loved ones who were lost along the way. The combination of gameplay, character building, strategy, and narrative highlights in telling stories is what makes this game so great. That experience is uniquely to the Banner Saga, and as its predecessor, the Banner Saga 2 hits the chord with a specific audience that won't mind the brutal difficulty and random events that can cripple their armies. You might not complete the game in your first sitting, but it will be a journey worth taking. Overall, this game is fantastic when it comes to play a story-driven roguelike game. The fourth place of the best roguelike games goes to Dead Cells. It is a roguelite Metroidvania action platformer where you will explore a sprawling, ever-changing castle, assuming you're able to fight your way past its keepers in 2D Souls-like combat with no checkpoints. Dead Cells is rewarding in its flexibility in a way few games are. Each easily digestible run through its beautifully detailed and shifting levels instills a feeling of discovery and familiarity. It goes you to push the limits of your ability and mercilessly crushes you when you get too comfortable. There are layers of strategy and tactics buried not only in the immediate choices you make, but in the grander metagame each run builds toward. Dead Cells is an adrenaline duty for every player. It gets you not only with a beautifully crafted dark world and countless weapons, but mostly with elaborated gameplay. A beautiful, challenging game that is supremely polished in every area. A fantastic blend of tactical combat mixed with Metroidvania-style progression, combined with an interesting and very quirky setting, makes it a compelling package. Overall, it is a stellar action platformer with gorgeous presentation and excellent combat. Punishing but worth it. The third place of the best roguelike games goes to Children of Morta, which is a narrative-based roguelike hack-and-slash game for PC, which will involve you in the adventures of a family. It is an incredible roguelike title that will keep you hooked for hours on end, offering superb gameplay and presentation, as well as a surprisingly strong story. While Children of Morta's surprising flexibility, without too comprising on the challenge of its gameplay, is one to take note of, its Dead Mage's ability to find harmony with so many moving parts that's more impressive. This game, like Dead Cells before, is an addictive, well-orchestrated and brilliantly devised take on the roguelike template. Children of Morta delivers an exceptional experience with superior gameplay and a surprising amount of heart. It is a resoundingly beautiful game that tells a compelling story of growth, forgiveness and love through a set of deep, satisfying roguelike mechanics that keep you invested. Overall, a lot of love and time has gone into Children of Morta, and the level of polish and complexity across its narrative and gameplay make it one of the most interesting roguelites to date. The difficulty curve and relative brevity of its story may put some off, but this game is a beautifully crafted, polished roguelite that deserves your attention. The second place of the best roguelike games goes to Hades, which is a godlike roguelike dungeon crawler that combines the best aspects of Supergiant's critically acclaimed titles, including the fast-paced action of Bastion, the rich atmosphere and depth of Transistor, and the character-driven storytelling of Pyre. As the immortal prince of the underworld, you wield the powers and mythic weapons of Olympus to break free from the clutches of the god of the dead himself, while growing stronger and unraveling more of the story with each unique escape attempt. Hades gives you as much as you're willing to dig through it. Its high replayability value can give you countless hours and still manage to progress you further in the game. During your playthroughs you will find new interesting interactions with characters and cool story elements. What really makes the story stand out are the residents of Hades' court. It's as good a setup for roguelite as any, but what really makes the story stand out are the residents of Hades' court. When you die, Hades deftly serves up intense hits of story in the quick moments between attempts to wade through the underworld. Hades nails the core elements of the roguelite with a tight combat, meaningful customization, varied abilities that differentiate runs, and interesting progression, all laced with a meaningful story hook. It's one of the few games where the fact that it will keep changing and growing just makes me want to play it more. There is a big difference between a great early access release and a great finished game, but Hades has all the makings of something special. Outstanding and well polished, especially for an early access game.
Death is your only family. Death and I.
The crown in the first place of the best roguelike games goes to Darkest Dungeon, which is a gothic roguelike RPG dungeon crawler about the psychological stresses of adventuring. You will lead a band of 4 heroes on a perilous side-scrolling descent, dealing with a prodigious number of threats to their bodily health, and worse, a relentless assault on their mental fortitude. 500 feet below the earth you will not only fight unimaginable foes, but famine, disease, and the stress of the ever-encroaching dark. Darkest Dungeon focuses on the humanity and psychological vulnerability of the heroes and asks, what emotional toll does a life of adventure take? It is one of the most intense and immersive games out there. A product of creative genius and flawless design, it delivers, with simplistic perfection, a difficult yet addictive experience. It's hard, harsh and unforgiving. It might be the perfect challenge if you're looking for something similar. What makes Darkest Dungeon a fascinating experience isn't the rich character progression and overarching strategy, but the way it manages to make each character feel like a living, breathing human before asking you how much you'll ruin them to increase your bottom line. There's pockets of subtext that you continually filled with your own moral struggle. You realize that the greatest evil isn't waiting at the end of a dimly lit crypt. It is sitting right in your chair, playing this game. Overall, Darkest Dungeon grabs you. It is not a game for everyone, but it is precisely what makes it so special.